say hi to Mr. Brian Chu from the Smart Local. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Billy. Yes, I
I see
am a
that
return customer.
and I see my favorite guitar is still back there. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, the Smart Local was with us for Innovation Challenge called TED, and they had two challenges there as well. And today they are back again with two more challenges. So what more can I say but that the OIP is such a powerful tool that we're encouraging people, and people are actually encouraged to come back again to find new innovative solutions. Right? Thank you, Brian, for joining us again. I just gonna introduce a bit about your first challenge in Innovation Call 11. This is called Powering Hyperlocal Publishers with E-commerce. Right, another challenge from the Smart Local, and the problem statement is how might we empower a hyper-connected e-commerce site to create a virtuous cycle of online deals, ladies and gentlemen, driven through data in real time for merchants, consumers, and partners. Okay, so our speaker will be Mr. Brian Chu. He's the CEO of the Smart Local, and Brian heads the business and content strategy of the Smart Local. He's also a very good guitar player, I'm assuming, based on the visuals right now. And of course, the Smart Local is actually one of the most popular, portals you can find in Singapore. It's also the media. TSL Media is also one of the largest new media groups in Singapore. So basically, I understand that, Brian, you guys are writing lots of stories about Squid Game. Why Squid Game?
Because it's the most popular show on Netflix right now.
Okay,
and
let me.
it's also popular all across Southeast Asia, not just in Singapore. In every Southeast Asian country, it is probably number one.
Okay.
It's a very easy way to get traffic.
Okay, that means after this session, I'm going to start watching the Squid Game. Thanks to your coverage on the Smart Local. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Mr. Brian Chu, CEO of the Smart Local. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Billy. Are you guys going to be, do I share my screen or will you guys be sharing the screen for me?
Okay, it's your preference. Do you want us to share or you can share?
I can go and share my screen.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so maybe I'll start with just a brief introduction about TSL, if people aren't super familiar. So we are a leading new media brand in Singapore. Sites under us include Marshall News, Eatbook, Zula, and also Telegram Collective, where we have about 380,000 subscribers in the Telegram group. So a lot of people ask, why is the company so big? How come you have 150 people? And it's because we are kind of we have like three main business units. We have our YouTube arm, and we have our Facebook video arm, and we have our editorial arm. So we're kind of like a combination of SGAG, Night Owl Cinematics, and Mothership, which is why our team is so big. Many different business units. So that's where we are at now. Where we want to be in the future, we realize that, okay, media is an industry which is not super scalable, meaning that if we want to have more revenue, we have to hire more people. We are at a situation now where we have quite a lot of cash reserves and we have done well over the years. And we want to try and extend our lead in something which is quite scalable, a scalable solution like a TSL 2.0, which is why we are back here for round two. We do want to invest in technology and we do have the resources right now to do so. So that we can essentially get further ahead. That's our main goal. And so that we can create some sort of scalable solution, which will not necessarily result in requiring us to hire a lot more people to get more revenue. We just get more revenue because of technology. So there are a few ways to work together. The first way is similar to the OIP, a way where essentially given a cash sum, I think it's about 40-50K, similar to the last round, and essentially that's it. It's like a contract commission basis. There's also another way, if you guys feel there's a potential to own an IP, co-join and own an IP together and run and build something with us. We're also considering especially if you're like a smaller boutique company, we're also considering a partnership or an equity option. If you guys, so that would be this would be partial. This would be like part cash and also part equity. So existing solutions are completely fine, meaning that if you have something which is out of the box and you want to go and reuse it for one of our problem statements, that's fine. Just make sure that there has to be some customization and some programming done. It cannot just be it exactly being used out of the box and that's that. No, there has to be like some customization because there is some customization required in our products for sure. So as Billy has shared earlier, we have really we really participated in an earlier round, and in one of these rounds we've already confirmed the vendor in phase 1, and we are also talking about a phase 2, and in total the sum is about, I think, 150,000. So we are very prepared to continue and invest and work with vendors, and we are looking for essentially new vendors to work with now. Okay, so so essentially what Bill introduced, the powering e-commerce thing. An easy way to think about this is, for the first problem statement, is we essentially want to build a referral system. And I think the closest example to this in Singapore or in Southeast Asia right now is this site called Shopback, which I'm sure everyone is very familiar with. And how Shopback works is that essentially people sign up for a Shopback account, and anytime you click on the Shopback site or a partner of Shopback, you'll get some rebate back. This is because, well, Shopback has arranged and brokered deals with all of these companies. For example, maybe Klook will give them 7% of all their sales, which they have, and which they get under an affiliate model, and then they would then give maybe 5% back out to users as cash back under Shopback, and they'll keep 2% themselves. So that's how it works. It kind of like it's a new spin on the affiliate model, but it's very clever because it's extremely scalable as well. And I think that there's no other competition in Southeast Asia. This is an avenue that we want to go and explore. In Japan, there's an extremely successful site which does this, called Kakaku. It's also listed on the stock market, and it is doing extremely well. Like, this company actually invested in Singapore companies. That's how well they're doing. They invested in Love Bonito, they invested in Money Smart, and so on. But essentially it's the same thing. It's one of the most popular sites. You click on anything and boom, immediately it's all affiliate link driven. And it's something that we want to explore a lot more heavily, because it is just a huge revenue driver. And it is very scalable. And given that we aren't just in Singapore now, we are all across Southeast Asia, that potential is huge. So what are going to be the core features for this? Well, we will want to have, obviously a member homepage so that they can go and track the number of money that they have saved, essentially by clicking on, and then they can go and cash out by clicking on on links which are partners of ours. So we have a full sales team, and we really have relationships with all the people, with most of the players in the industry. So we will be able to get that merchant acquisition very fast. Essentially, there has to be some sort of well, the way that these sites like Kakaku does it, they have listing pages, but we already have our TSL content sites. So essentially, we just need to make it easy to go and have the link point to any of our partner sites. So there just has to be that functionality built in. Our team can just generate the link and it'll just point to it. There has to be affiliate system tracking in place, of course. And lastly, there has to be a Chrome extension for usability. So let me go a bit into these core features. So kind of like this is what the homepage will look like if you are like the person signed up with the account. You have the available balance and whatnot, but that's about it. It's like the balance that you have and the balance activity history, and that's about it. There's also the refer and earn, but this one is we have to do it in a phase 1. For the minimum viable product, it's really just this first screen, the available balance and the history. And then this is a listing page, but we don't really need this because we really have our WordPress CMS, so essentially we just need for there to be a capability to generate links on the back end to go and point to any of the merchants. So our editorial team can quickly just go and populate the entire site with links. This thing is something which we'll definitely need. It's a Chrome extension. And with a Chrome extension, it just makes it easy when people are browsing through using Chrome, whatever, when they land on a partner site. Immediately they know that they don't have to manually go back to our site to click on the link. It's immediately integrated. So that's the core function. So that's actually all for the first problem statement.
Okay, Brian. So that's it for the first challenge. So I'm going to open the questions to the floor. But Brian, because you're our return customer, right? I have a semi-tough question for you, just to, because you are more experienced with OIP. So basically,
Go
I just want to
ahead.
ask you, what are you looking for, right? That a team of freelance programmers can't give you. What are you looking for that the market can't give you? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, well, firstly, I do value IMDA's involvement in this a lot, be it from the funding perspective or even when it's not funded, the support that IMD provides, including providing the consultants to draft out, the proper technical specifications, and then after that, the milestone and planning. So I do like that sort of structure. I think structure is very important. Timelines, milestones are very important. Things have to be done in a very systematic way. I actually have a bit of like what we're looking for at the end here. So a good track record is important. I think it will make the most sense for companies is when they really have sort of like they've built something similar, but not exactly that, but something similar where they can reuse some of the code, and then, it makes financial sense for them to, okay, let me just also take on this project, devote some man hours to this, and then after that, yeah, they have a good track record. So you have like a portfolio of good partners that you have worked with already, established reputable partners, and you've gone through that whole phase with them already. That is something which is I value very highly. Another thing which I value extremely highly is a non-generic proposal. I think in the last OIP round, what happened was a lot of vendors submitted just the media kit lah, it's essentially the media kit. I mean, and yeah, it's not very convincing when that happens because this is something that we want to invest. Eventually, I'm going to invest like a 6-figure amount in this, So we do want to see that level of commitment into wanting to work on this. Like it'll be good if you're aligned and you believe that it's a good idea and you are interested and passionate to build it. So a non-generic proposal would be good, meaning that please don't just submit your media kit lah. If you plan to or don't have enough time, it's best to not just submit it, because like essentially we're not going to prove we're not going to prove any generic proposal. It's as simple as that. The ones who all got shortlisted, who all got to the next stage. And essentially, I think this is also what IMD values are those who took the time to go and it doesn't have to be extremely complicated. It just can be short. It can be short. It's fine as long as it communicates. It shows that you understand the problem, and that it will be good if there's some visuals. But if don't do a mockup, it's fine also. But that's a bonus as long as it's not a generic media kit. You are showing us that how you're solving our problems. That will be fine.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, we have one question from the floor, and it says, is the Smart Local looking for payment gateways to be part of the solution as well?
Payment gateways, yes, it would be integrated with payment gateways. So sort of like using the Stripe API or something along those lines, where it's just a very seamless process. We do, yeah. Ideally, we don't want to store any balance ourselves. That would be the ideal situation, but we have to go and also think about the solution, whether that's even feasible.
Okay, now what if the proposed solution, right, offers you more than just a short back comparator or a cargo comparator? What if the solution gives you even more value add features, for example?
Well, we will love it for sure, because those two companies are very valuable. So the market has already shown that and validated that business model. Any other features would be like icing on the cake. We would definitely appreciate it, and it will make you stand out. But even like the basic features, even if you do the basic features very well, that's something I value a lot.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I'm just going to wait to see whether we have any more questions from the floor. But I do understand that for this particular challenge, right, the cash price is actually $40,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this challenge, the cash price is actually $40,000. So when you win it, it really is a pretty decent summary to start work on this project. So it's going to be very good for you. Okay, one more question from Flo Ang from the floor, and it says, do you allow to upsell and cross-sell to your existing customer base? Do you have in-house customers data source, right? Either the structure or non-structure. Okay, it's a two-part question. All right, what do you say, sir?
Will we allow
upsell and cross-sell, right, to our existing customer base?
We are going to be promoting it very heavily to our existing bases, which I feel, which gives us the confidence in how we're going to enter a market where there's an existing competitor, right? Essentially. gives us the confidence because TSL has been around for a long time and we've always remained very relevant in the Singapore social media space. So we really have that huge amount of distribution, and we really know that we are bringing in significant amount of revenue because we are really working with partners, like Klook-like partners essentially, and we are on this referral thing. So it's a really a proven thing for us. Now it's just building the technology. Sorry, what's the second part of the question?
The second part is about data. Do you have the in-house customers data source, either the structured or non-structured data? Yeah.
In terms of like, do we have like a mailing list, a database?
Database,
We don't keep that information, but we are going to be essentially, once we do this, we'll get like the user acquisition to us. I feel it's not an issue lah. We'll get it very rapidly because we really have a site which gets, so we get about 20 million page views every month lah. And given that Singapore has a population of 6 million, like 20 million page views a month is quite significant.
Yeah, that means you're quite a regional powerhouse in that sense. Oh, well done, well done. Okay, we're going to move on right now to the next challenge from the Smart Local. And again, I'd like to invite Mr. Brian Chu once again to be challenge. It's titled, okay, Brian, just allow me to just explain the title. It's called the Smart Nano Influencer Marketplace. So Brian, you need to tell us what's a nano influencer. And the problem statement is, how might we effectively match nano influencers with enterprises so that they can collaborate and create value together safely and securely? Take it away, Brian.
So in this case, again, this is something which is, there is already some technology out there. There are some competitors. There isn't a very clear market leader in this space, but it's also, there's a lot of synergy with our existing business. So this nano KOL marketplace, well, what's a nano KOL? It's essentially a KOL which an influencer who does not have a significant amount of following, but there are a lot of people like that in Singapore, a lot more than, let's say, real legit people who have like 50,000 followers. And that is following the industry where like sometimes KLs would write in and ask to be featured, whatnot, and say, hey, can I dine here? Can you host me or whatever? And then after that, the PR people, the restaurant will go and shame them on social media, and it's all very funny. Like, look at this influencer, right? They aim for free food and so on. And it also, but little do people know that also happens the other way. A lot of times, a lot of smaller publications, they write into the big publishers all the time, every day. Like, can you feature us? Can you feature that? They're always pitching stories here and there. So, and the reason for this is, well, there isn't really like a platform where these small businesses and like these nano KOLs can meet. Right, and then suddenly, okay, we are going to solve the problem right there. We are going to play like matchmaker. Right, so essentially that's what we want to do. We don't want to target the big KOLs because there are existing solutions for that. We want to go and target essentially the nano KOLs, where maybe it could be a restaurant saying that, okay, I want to do a hosting and I want to introduce people to my restaurant. I would maybe require people who have like 500 followers, and they just have to post a IG post. And then I'll host them for a night. And on that, through this platform, they will maybe engage 20 KLs or 30 KLs very, very quickly with a click of a button, essentially. Right. So that's the problem that we want to solve, right? This nano KL marketplace. So there are some competitors out there. I think one of the ones which are decently funded right now is Party Post, but there are many. There's also one launched by called Toko Town, which is a partnership by Gojek and Tokopedia. But essentially, I think it all comes down to execution, when it comes to taking the market share. And it's just because we have such a huge amount of following and a distribution network already. And we also have our own KOLs, and we are so familiar with the process. And we have all the contacts as well with all the clients. We do feel that we could enter as a worthy competitor, essentially. So what are the core features? Yes, we would have similar. We would have like a member homepage where you can have the transactions and the reviews. Transactions meaning that essentially the deals which the KOLs have signed up for, there will be a transaction history and so on. There will be a payout, a balance, so on, and there will also be a review, a very simple review portion where people can leave the company and they can leave each other reviews. There will be a marketplace listing page where people can go and browse through and find. So this one has to be built. Unlike the previous solution where we can just use TSL as the discovery area. Over here, this one, we have to go and do some simple navigation. There has to be the interface which the KOLs logs in has to be different from the interface which the merchant logs in, which is very similar for any like any site which has both, any marketplace which has both like a seller like Etsy or Fiverr or whatever, seller and the buyer side. Okay, so this is kind of what it will look like from the member homepage. It will look like this, where there's the balance line, the transaction history. So it's pretty simple. It's like this. That's it. Of course, we will pair with our existing solution, which is a real-time analytics, which allows clients to access all the statistics of the posts which they produce, essentially. But we already have that solution built already, so we're just going to pair that with this. So this is what the the merchant standpoint. This is how it looks like essentially. There will be it's just different pages for merchants and the KOLs to log into. So that's it. It's both of these solutions actually, if you notice, right, the complexity isn't high because it's not very complicated. It's like one key feature, two key features. But of course, they have the key features have to be done very well in order for it to work. Okay, Billy. That's it.
Okay, that's it for challenge number 2. But before we go on to the Q&A of challenge 2, I believe that we have one question left over from challenge 1. So I'd like to go back to the question from Barun. Sure. So if you can just answer this from Barun, it says, do you want a cookie-based conversion tracking system? What is the reason for not working with companies like Cake, who already have an affiliate tracking system? So there's 2 questions in one. Yeah.
Okay. Do we want a cookie-based? Well, I think that's the only way to go and track. I'm not sure if there's another way to go and track, but I believe that's the most popular way. So, but if there's another way, we are open to explore ideas for sure. We are open to explore. We just want to use the best solution. What is the reason for not working with companies like Cake? Well, we don't want to be a merchant on Shopback. We want to build our own Shopback essentially. I think that's the thing. I believe that, and I believe that why we want to do this because we have the capabilities, we have the financing, and we also have the distribution and the time in the industry to be able to build that solution. And I think Shopback has, I think recently the valuation is like 93 million or something along those lines. It was pretty high. So obviously there will be a sort of valuation that we want to aspire to. Apart from our media business having like a 2.0, that would be fantastic as well.
Wow, that sounds very incredible, Brian. Thank you for answering Varun's question. Okay, we'll now move on to questions for your challenge number 2 about nano influence. Oh, before we start, basically, Brian, may I know what is the industry definition of a nano influencer?
I'm not sure. I know nano means like smaller than micro, right? So nano technology. So I assume that it's really people, the influencers who aren't monetizing yet. So they aren't like technically getting paid whenever they do content at the moment. Yeah, so maybe it could be like they are willing to barter. They're at a stage where they're bartering, but they're happy just maybe. Well, I mean, obviously, like there are some deals like staycations that they would love to barter more, and you get a lot more responses for.
Okay, the reason I'm asking because I would like to know the numbers. Like, what defines a nano influencer? Is it like 5 followers or that kind of level?
Okay, I'm not sure. Let me just quickly Google it.
I thought you guys would have it in your head, but yeah.
I just know it's very little. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm checking my
100 to 10K according to Google. My definition is 100 to 500.
100 to 500, okay. As in 100 followers.
100 to 500 followers or 100 to 1,000.
Okay. So I need to check my Instagram and my Twitter and my Facebook just to make sure I qualify. Okay, I'm just kidding, guys. Okay, move on to questions on the floor right now on this nano influencer challenge. And the first one is from Rachel, and Rachel is asking, is the Smart Local open to have a feedback module too for both the influencers and the enterprises? Do you want to have a feedback module, Brian?
We would love to have it because I think that was one of the challenges. There was this thing called Glassdoor influencer reviews, which was very popular about like 2 years ago. Then it closed down because of like some impartiality issues. So essentially, there's that demand. Like people in the industry want to know, hey, can I work with this KOL? Is she just going to be a nightmare to work with, right? Who is professional? Who is not? And likewise, in KLs also want to know, hey, is this like restaurant just going to lowball me and waste my time, or are they going to be very stingy or whatever? Like give me half a staycation and kick me out in the middle of the night, things like that. I mean that's a joke, of course. But yeah, so yes, we definitely want to be able to provide that feedback, and that probably will be done with reviews. People can leave reviews, public reviews essentially.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Now, next question from the floor, very interesting. Can the Smart Local share what are some of the considerations in matching influencers to enterprises?
So there will be some search filters which enterprises could use, and it will be enterprises who are doing more of the, hey, I have a job, would anyone want to go and bid for it, essentially. Right, so that's what the posting will be, the jobs will be created by them. And so they would, what the KOLs could then do is then they could search, by industry. I think the category is probably the most important. Is it food? Is it beauty? Because you have very different brands in these spaces, right? And likewise, there would be a KL database. And again, these companies can choose to go and blast out this message, which will appear in their notifications. If the KL meets a certain criteria, then they get their notification message that they can choose to apply for a job, and then after the company can accept. So that's sort of like how there are basic parameters, search parameters, and that's how the matching process is done. This doesn't require I think it doesn't require machine learning. This is not one of the requirements, right? Since TSL is funding this, so you have to worry about that portion. It just make it like a simple matchmaking would work.
Okay, Brian, to follow up that question, we have one related question. Is the platform intended for two-way matching or only for enterprises to find KOLs, one way only?
That's a good question. I think it should be built with a two-way in mind. But at the start, I would want to just focus on essentially it would be so it always will actually have the it's kind of like a jobs board, essentially. If you think about it, it's like a company posts a job, right? And then after that, the KOLs would apply for it. They will apply for the job. So essentially, they can go and blast it out and contact people the company can contact people who might already fit that profile, right? But then also, of course, KOLs can have the choice to also go and apply. So there will be like a list of open deals in the platform which are available right now. Maybe they've not filled in their quota of like 20 packs. They're looking for 20 nano influencers. So it shows 15 out of 20. And then after that, that's when the KOLs can go and participate and express their interest. But ultimately, it'll be up for the company to accept whether they want to accept this KOL to work with them.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. I think you have one more question from the floor for you, and this is very interesting. How do you envision the KOL profile to look like? Like, what kind of data will you want to show the enterprises?
Well, we would have to go and check with essentially with the Instagram API, what sort of data can be put. But let me just quickly share with you my screen. Okay, so new share. Hang on, let me see. Okay, so essentially, there's already public available data. Let me go and new share. Okay, let me share my screen with you quickly. So this is really something that we have already built, where we already have real-time data for Instagram, for example. We are pulling this data out, which is actually private. Something like reach and impressions are private essentially. We are pulling this data out, and I think it's a bit buggy, by the way, that they are. Okay, but anyway, we're putting this data out, and essentially, when KOLs do campaigns for clients, they actually get all this data. It's a really instant connected. So they can access the data of all their campaigns, and then they can choose to, hey, do I want to work with this KOL more, or do I want to work with this one who has gotten better results? So that is like during the campaign process. Prior to the campaign process, when the company is doing the search for KOLs, what they can do is what data will be shown is probably their follower count and probably maybe their last 10 poster engagements. So for example, it will automatically aggregate and pull if the last 10 posts was maybe like 200 likes or 100 likes or whatever, it will automatically show that last 10 posts likes was received or last 10 comments was received, so that people can have an indication. But we'll keep it simple. We won't make it too complex. And I think that would be enough already for this to be successful.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you, Brian. I think you've answered all the tough questions today, and I think you're ready to relax and watch Squid Games already. So I'm going to let you off. Thank you very much, Brian Chu, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Chu, CEO of the Smart Local, and I look forward to all the exciting submissions for 2 challenges, Brian. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Also feel free to reach out to us. So
yes, yeah. Oh wait, there's one. Oh, 2 more questions. Shall we? I'll tell you what, Brian. Can I sort of like ask you to actually reply via the the Q&A tool within the Zoom, just type in the answer to the 2 questions that came in. Okay. Thank you very much, Brian. And I guess I may be looking forward, but I hope to see you back again for Innovation Call 12. So looking forward to you joining us again. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Brian from the TSL. Thank you very much, Brian. Bye-bye.